Hey, happy day, namaste. So, I would imagine that the quality of this video should be excellent because we have a new recording device. I hope the audio is also exceptional. So, let's see. I'm excited to do this reading. It's more of a general reading from the past week into the now, and it really is not predictive of the future but more about how to prepare for the future and guidance on how to deal with the here and now, because the now is the sum total of the past, where we've come from. In fact, that's one of the lessons that we've come to realize, or should come to realize, is it's time to stop and pause. And so this card, the Four of Cups, there are a couple of things that I see in it. And what's interesting is, as I'm talking, I'm thinking, so one of the things that we should be doing right now is stopping and pausing and taking a moment to reflect on how far we've come. How are we reaping the benefits of what we've sown? How do our relationships, how are they indicative of who we are and what we want to reflect in our lives, or the aspects of ourselves that we wish to reflect? So we really ought to be looking at what we've accomplished rather than just disregard any success and any flourishing that we've experienced. Because if we look back, we definitely are living a better life now than the one we did a year ago, 2 years, 5 years ago. So all the hard choices that we've made, and all the sacrifices that it's taken, and all the challenges we've overcome, and all the withouts that we've had to accept, that's what we're needing to look at. And when we can do that, we are then able to see how bright the future is, how much it has to offer us. So I love this card for talking about finding stability within our heart space, the four corners, the compass points, making sure we know our north, so the higher self, the south, our lower self, the east, which is the new self, and the west, which is the old self. So that's this card speaks to us about that. And like I said, it's about who and what we have in our life. Notice there's another four, so there are a lot of fours coming out. And four speak to us about security, building a foundation, and making decisions to relieve tension and or anxiety. So this card is the Spirit Suit, and the Spirit Suit reflects our essential self, inner guide, and connection with life and nature. Spirit is something that's not apart from life. It is us engaging with life and the lessons that we wish to learn on our journey in life, with others, situations, places, spaces, etc., and states of being. And this card says, friendship multiplies the good of life and divides the evil. 'Tis the sole remedy against misfortune, the very ventilation of the soul, by Baltasar Gracian. And then, so the current energies are, oops, are relevant to, like I said, taking a pause time and reflecting upon how far we've come, and doing a bit of a review and an assessment. So as we do in personal training, about after, let's say it's an 8-week personal training course, you would, in the beginning, you would do all kinds of measurements and weighing and fitness testing to see what your starting level is. And then about 4 weeks later, we would then repeat that and see where you've shown improvements and your progress in effect. So that's what we're doing in life now. And what's happening is our perspectives are changing, and the light is shining on those aspects of our lives that we can no longer ignore or are no longer hidden in the dark, those things we don't like. So there's also a lot of having to face truth, personal truth. And this card speaks to us about deception. And there's no longer this ability or this being able to get away with self deception and therefore deceiving others. So we will be operating a lot more in our authentic selves. We will be more vulnerable, certainly with ourselves, in order to shine the light on the reasons why we are enacting and perpetuating things we don't want in our life, actually. Bad relationships, toxic habits, um, bad choices overall, and essentially not living that beautiful dreamlike life that we know is possible. And it is possible. It's not just a dream. Our dreams can become reality. Uh, it just takes you, your time, your effort, your resources, and your energy. Um, so, uh, I can't remember what the symbolism of the crow is, but I will put some info in there. And this is the 7. So it's again about choices, making better choices and reflecting, and what are we choosing, is this card. And then it marries up with the coupling card, and there we have another 4. So we've got triple fours, which is 12, which is 3, which is again working. Perhaps we're realizing that we are imperfect, and instead of seeing imperfections in others, we recognize the imperfections in ourselves and realize that we need others to play to our weaknesses, and our strengths in the same way that we play to the matching strengths and weaknesses in others. And it's not just people, it's places, it's everything. It's how we live our lives. It's an energy. If you just took all the dense matter, how things look, and put it all into an energy format, it would just be different lines of different, frequencies. And that's all that's the trick in life, is to be able to recognize frequencies and know how to harmonize with them and alchemize them and amplify them and magnify them and play with them and be the magician. And it's a bit like, I had this awareness today of, instead of having a separation of me and the external, I'm integrating a lot more as a blade of grass being a part of the rugby field. A blade of grass, I don't, as a blade of grass on my own, make a rugby field, but with all the other blades of grass, we do make a rugby field. And it's the same with a grain of sand. As a grain of sand, you just nothing, but on a beach, you are a whole beach. Or with a whole lot of other grains of sand, you become a beach, or a drop of water, and or a leaf. So you get the point. We are small but important. However, we only play a role in the major greater whole and the collective. And uh, uh, the sex suit, passion suit, is about passion, creativity, and sexuality. And it's either related to you. What do you need to do? There's in order to get out of the stagnancy of how to get out of the revolving door of what we've reflected upon and understood that no longer serves us. So how do we get out of that stagnant energy, which is 7 is about um, changes happening, or making, understanding that we need to make different choices to have different outcomes. If you want a different sum, total, you need to change the sum. And you know, there's we can, I don't want to say waste our energy having sex just for having sex to meet our carnal desires. But we can just use sex to meet very base carnal needs. However, we can also channel those energies into um, a higher state, which is then our ability to really create. Excuse me, it's a very powerful force of creation, sexual energy, and certainly that is harnessed and channeled And the quote on this card is quite long, but it says, essentially, I'll subquote, that if you wish to experience an agreeable copulation, one that gives equal satisfaction and pleasure to both parties, it is necessary to frolic with the woman and excite her with nibblings, kissings, and caressings. Turn her over in the bed, sometimes on her back, sometimes on her belly, until you see by her eyes that the moment of pleasure has arrived. And so it really is about being patient and understanding that you have planted a garden. You got to enjoy all the aspects of actively being involved in uh, creating that garden. You tended to it, you nurtured it, and now you actually get the pleasure of sitting back, which is how I started at the beginning. Uh, Instead of just ignoring this beautiful garden, what you need to realize is not only do you get to enjoy the beauty of what you've produced, so the satisfaction, the feel good, but perhaps there is even functional value in that perhaps you even grew food, vegetables or fruits. So perhaps there is a lot more in your garden than you are even aware of. And it's a little more patience is required. And it's not about being frustrated that things aren't moving. It's about taking pleasure in being able to take some time to actually just enjoy where you're at and how far you've come, and take a moment to pull yourself towards yourself in order for the next phase of the transition, which is the beginning of the next phase, to really hit full swing. So with that, namaste, Indikesh. Have a happy